sitting down with the Glenn Sanford. Can you believe it? Talk about success. Somebody that built something. It was 17 years ago. You were here in Vegas, right?
I was, yeah. I was here for another real estate conference. I was in the audience as an agent, sort of awed by the experience.
Right.
And, 17 years later, we've built a company that is actually twice as large as that company was at that time.
Wow.
And just seeing all the impact that we had on agents' lives.
Yeah.
As we continue to scale and grow. It's
And you were
incredible.
You were just a real estate agent when you were here 17 years ago. And you were a high-performing real estate agent, though, right?
Yeah. No, so, I was Rookie of the Year. 2002, I was Rookie of the Year. 2003, I was the number one buyer's agent, number 3 in my credential office.
Wow.
2004, I went to Keller. And so it might have been, I think it was the winter, like January, February of 2005 when I was here.
Now, everybody knows good ideas usually come to you in your sleep, in the shower, or maybe when you're brainstorming with a buddy or something like that. Where did the real eXp model sort of breakout entrepreneur, where did that that idea came from?
So we actually had a team leader mastermind, because I was running some real estate teams back in 2009 after the housing market crashed.
Okay.
And it was, I think, February 12th or someplace around Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So we're there, and one of our agents passed, because I had to get rid of all of our offices because I couldn't afford them.
Right.
One of our agents asked, when do we get our offices back? And I said, we're not getting our office back. By the way, this was to shut her down. This was not because I was thinking about it per se, but I said, we're not getting our office.
You were thinking of the budget and the fact that the overhead was killing you with the down market.
Right. So I was just trying to push her back and say, we're not getting the office back. We have to develop a defensible business model that's not dependent on bricks and mortar.
Don't use the office as an excuse to succeed.
Exactly. And then after that, I'm like, we need to develop a defensible business model that's not dependent on bricks and mortar.
So it was born out of necessity.
It was, yeah. There was an element of necessity, and then how do we then build it? And then it was really just to answer the question, what would an agent need or want in order for them to want to make the switch to a brokerage that had no physical offices? And so then we had to think about all of the different ingredients that were necessary for me as an agent, because I was an agent at the time. For me as an agent to want to work there, knowing everything that I knew that was going on there.
Right. So you started eXp, and I heard some really impressive stats on stage. Can you rattle through some of the stats of the growth that you guys have had over the last 2 years?
Well, I mean, we're over 85,000 agents now. We've got over 11,000 agents in California. We've got over 5,000 agents in Canada. We're internationally, we've got, which includes Canada, 10 or 11,000 agents there. We fastest growing real estate brokerage in the history of residential real estate, fastest growing brand in the history of residential real estate.
Right.
We're, single largest brokerage, but, in the next 3 years or so, we should, if you have theory, be the single largest brand in real estate. And it's all centered around being the most agent-centric real estate brokerage on the planet.
Yeah, talk about that for a minute, because I think that's one of the biggest differentiators when you talk about the other models that exist.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody thinks they're agent-centric, but then the question is, are they agent-centric? And what I think about is, can an agent make more and live a better life?
Yeah.
And have a better opportunity in our model than anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so that's where I continually look at, what's out there.
Yeah.
And will we be sustainable? There's some companies right now that are running that, their model won't scale long term without continued investment fund. Our model, has enough in it to be sustainable in good times and bad times. We don't have to change the model. It's solid.
Right.
It's going to be able to do that. And so, fastest growing brokerage in India now, fastest growing brokerage in the UK, fastest growing brokerage in South Africa, fastest growing brokerage in Australia.
Soon to be Dubai.
We're soon to, I think we're opening Dubai in the next 30 to 60 days.
Wow.
So that'll make us 23 countries.
That's unbelievable. Now let's switch gears for a second to competitors. When you think about the competitors, they obviously throw rocks at eXp. What are some of the biggest rocks you've seen thrown? And then how do you combat those rocks that they throw?
I don't really pay that much attention to the competition because our model's growing so fast. I mean, we literally have no competition. In fact, I've kind of been surprised that we really haven't had competition. There'll be noise from time to time. There's been there's going to be a bunch of brokerages competing for what I call second place.
Got it.
Because they're just copying various parts of our model, and they're saying we're going to be the next eXp. There's like 5 or 6 of them that I'm aware of now.
Yeah.
And there'll be more of them that come out of the woodwork because...
And they're mimicking that same model ways.
Yeah, and what's interesting is none of them were founded by a real estate professional.
Oh, really?
And none of the founders of those new companies actually sold real estate.
Just opportunistic entrepreneurs that see a good model and say, let's just do it.
Let's just copy them, and then we'll but they don't know why we put in the system that we have put in for rev share, for equity. I sat down with one of the founders of one of these copycats years ago.
Yeah.
And he had no clue why agents actually did things. And finally, he gave in and he copied our model.
Wow.
And now he's getting some growth, which is fine. There's going to be other companies copying us.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know why we built the equity program the way we built it.
Sure.
He just knows it works.
Sure. So there's not a lot of purpose or heart behind why they did what they did.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like this week, what did we do? We enhanced our technology stack for agents, KV Core and a bunch of other things. But the one I'm really excited about, we bought Success Magazine 2 years ago. We're rolling out our health initiatives. We did first company to roll out agent healthcare in the industry.
Right.
So agents can actually get something akin to health insurance, which is incredible when you think about it. Independent contractors have to go to a marketplace that's super expensive.
Sure.
Or we can gather them into a group, a buying group, and put them in a cooperative to give, in some cases, better coverage than they got on their insurance.
More affordable in volume, and that's the purpose of the community that eXp is, right?
Right. And then this week, we also introduced Success Health. So underneath the Success brand, I've been going to some of the most amazing health technology biohacking conferences in the world.
I see that you're decked out in the Apple Watch, the Ring. You've got Whoop band.
I just took off my continuous glucose monitor.
Wow.
I'm measuring my internals with Bio.
Do you have a chip in you yet anywhere or no?
Don't have a chip.
You would though, wouldn't you?
Maybe. It depends on what it's doing. I mean, I'm not sure I want to put something in my brain.
No, but maybe the arm.
Maybe the arm.
Open the door, maybe. Okay.
But from a continuous glucose monitoring standpoint, just seeing what my blood glucose levels are, and understanding what I eat, because diabetes is a huge challenge for a lot of people. Indigestion is a huge problem for a lot of people.
Sure.
Inflammation across the body. There's fairly easy strategies if you know how to gamify it to improve this. So why not bring this into our ecosystem and have our agents be the most healthy agents on the planet?
It's an interesting fact because if you think about growing a really big real estate company, what's the real purpose behind getting a lot of agents to work really hard if they're all unhealthy at the end of the day, right? Is that sort of the idea?
But exactly. I mean, almost anything that's good societal actually has a good long-term financial outcome. So by reducing our carbon footprint, we have a low carbon footprint as an organization.
Sure.
Well, and that helps the planet, but then it also has a financial implication. If we have healthier agents, they're not going to get sick as quick as early in life.
Yeah.
Their health span improves.
Yeah.
And so if we could start just focus on, helping people have better outcomes across the board, and a lot of these are things that we know we should be doing. And as an organization, taking a stand for, agents' health is something we've been doing for years, but now we're doing it before you get sick even.
Yeah, which makes sense. And you talked about lifespan. So do you care to share some of your personal health victories recently? I know your lifespan kind of went up.
I mean, the whole biome thing was really interesting because they do the microbiome, and they've got, hundreds of thousands of tests that they've done on people, all different ages and all kinds of different lifestyles, etc. And so when I took the test the first time in November last year, my microbiome matched up with an average 54-year-old.
Wow. And
now my microbiome matches up with a 48-year-old. So you think about it, in 1 year, my biological age from a microbiome perspective drop by 6 years. This is blood, stool, and saliva tests.
What's the target? What's the target for you? Are you trying to get to 35?
You know, I don't know. You know, I'm not sure how to reverse the gray hair stuff. You know, and I get tempted to cover it up, but I'm like, but if I cover it up, then I won't know if I'm reversing that.
That's true. A multi-billionaire if you can figure out how to reverse the gray hair, I think.
Right. Yeah. So and supposedly there's some technology, and it's that will actually help reverse gray hair. And
wow.
So I'm interested in that, because if we can target different biological systems and reduce their biological age, what does that mean for overall lifespan? So one of my goals now is to run a marathon when I'm 90.
Wow.
And I actually believe that I will be running a marathon when I'm 90, because I'm starting to recognize the tools and technologies to increase my health span.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you get sick, you go to a doctor. But if you can preserve your health longer, that's a good thing.
I love that. I want to ask you 4 ways that every entrepreneur can focus on having more success in their life. I know some people talk about goals and health, and I know you have your own strategy to help you become a billionaire. So what are those 4 steps that everybody should take?
Yeah, well, I was a billionaire. Now I'm not a billionaire, but my guess it'll be, again, and I don't focus on that number per se, but it's kind of cool. It was cool to say, but well, it was,
yeah.
But I think about mind mapping my way to success.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I just believe that if you can see the information, then you can actually make predictive choices. So the first thing is just is to know that you can do something, or believe you can do something. So your mindset.
Okay.
The next thing is really to think about your aspirational objectives. What's your aspirational objectives? So improve health, improve wealth, improve relationships, improve stress less, those types of things. Those are aspirational. And then there's, what are the strategies that you're actually putting into place around that, and how can you measure it? So your KPIs, how do you know if you've got better relationships? How do you know if you've got a better microbiome? How do you know if you get better heart rate variability?
Would you say that's the average entrepreneur stops right there? They have the mindset, they set a loose goal, but then they just don't track anything?
Yeah, I mean, most entrepreneurs do track a profit and loss thing, right? So a P&L is their measure, measuring
money. Yeah.
The challenge is they may not be solving something big enough that actually propels them toward their goals.
Gotcha.
And so, if you're not solving a big enough problem, then you can maybe build lifestyle income.
Yeah.
But will you build a legacy?
Right.
And so when you think about legacy, we all have the potential to leave a legacy.
Right.
And make an impact on the world. But if we don't know how to think properly, and we don't know how to set those aspirational objectives, and then also the KPIs, and then the goals that go along with those KPIs, like running a marathon at 90
right.
is a goal.
Right.
And that's not a small goal. I mean, that's pretty big ask.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
1, you got to live that long.
Yes.
And then 2, you got to be healthy enough to actually do the marathon.
Right.
Like, there are people that are 90 years old that run marathons, so it's not like I'll be the first one.
Low percentage, but they're there.
It's low percentage, but if you believe that you could do it, you're going to optimize the stuff necessary to get there. And so, and then you think about, what are the KPIs? Where do I need to be? What I need to, I really don't know if I'm going to live to 90, and but that's a damn ambitious goal.
Yeah.
And it fits sort of a bigger purpose of being an inspiration to others.
And tracking the KPIs allows you to take the right actions to optimize to get there. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Just you do what you can. And optimization and data and metrics is a way you do it.
Wow. I love that.
Hey, if you've really enjoyed this, be sure to follow @Success Magazine on Instagram.